This story was submitted by TJ. Dr. Ferluci, Part 2. Journal entry, Day 2. I woke up this morning feeling slightly dazed. What happened last night? I don't remember waking up at all, and my meds are the same ones that I've been taking for months. Dr. Ferluci is a psychologist, not my psychiatrist, so he didn't prescribe me anything. Nothing has changed in my routine, yet I feel slightly off. Oh well, time to get on with my day. I put the journal down. Too many thoughts were filling my head to continue writing. I hadn't had a breakdown like last night in a long time. Is it because I switched psychologists? I mean, it must be. The question that Ferluci asked me started playing back in my mind. To be honest, I'm not sure if I can handle these memories repeating like a movie inside my brain. I really need help. I need these thoughts to end. It's time I get my life back on track. I need to find out who I am and just be me. I put my headphones in and go for a morning jog. I need to clear my head. While on my jog, a car pulls up beside me and slows down to my pace. Concerned and curious, I looked over at it. The car's driver's side window rolls down. Dr. Ferluci is the driver.
Yes, hello. I was hoping I would catch you here. I know this is a bit unorthodox, but I need you to come with me.
Ferluci shouted at me through his window. Oh, why? My next appointment isn't until next week, I replied.
Remember how I said that trust was the most important part of your treatment plan? Well, this is how it is gained. I need you to trust me,
he said, still shouting so I can hear him, but with a menacing tone. Apprehensively, I walked over to his car and get in the passenger seat. His car wasn't quite as tidy as his office as it was the day prior. It wasn't messy by any means, but it could definitely use a good detail job. I smelt a faint smell of cigarettes while sitting in there. No matter. Everyone has their vices. I don't hold a simple nicotine addiction against anyone. I still firmly believe that Ferluci was going to help me.
You made the right choice,
Ferluci said as he started to drive. Where are we going? I asked.
Exposure therapy,
was all he said. The drive lasted roughly 2 hours. I had no idea where we were. I didn't recognize anything. We were definitely outside the city limits, but that's all I knew. Ferluci finally pulled up to an old brick building. He told me to get out and go inside. I undid my seatbelt, opened the car door, got out, and walked towards the entrance to this small, old, abandoned-looking brick building. Ferluci follows behind me. When I walk into the building, I see that there isn't much inside. A small light hangs over the top of 2 metal folding chairs. The floors are solid concrete, with what seems to me to be an inch thick of dust covering them. To be honest, that was the only guess because the light was barely bright enough to illuminate the chairs themselves.
What you see before you are 2 chairs. One chair is completely normal. The other is connected to a car battery. If you sit on the chair connected to the battery, then you will be electrocuted and die,
Ferluci said with an evil grin on his face.
Now please, take a seat. Choose your destiny. You sit on one chair and I on the other. We sit at the same time. One of us lives and the other dies.
I look at him with shock in my face. What the fuck? I say to him with fear, anger, and disgust in all my voice. I came to you for therapy, not to be in some sick game. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm not gonna sit down. No, fuck that. I start walking back towards the door. Before I get to it, I heard a gunshot. I immediately dropped to the floor out of some sort of instinct. I have never been so scared in my life.
Now look here.
Ferluci started with the most arrogant tone I've ever heard in my life.
The way I see it is this. You can either sit down and play my game, or you can continue walking towards that door and be shot. One way, you have a chance of survival. The other way is certain death. Which do you choose?
Hesitantly, I stand back up, and with my hands raised in the air, I walk towards one of the chairs. I looked at it for a second, trying to get an idea if it was connected to a battery. Unfortunately, the light above wasn't bright enough for me to see anything. I then looked at Ferluci to see if I could catch a tell in his face. But I saw nothing. He was stone-faced, like a professional poker player sitting at a Vegas casino. I couldn't tell if he was holding pocket aces or if he was drawing dead. Unfortunately, I didn't have another choice. I really focused hard on the two chairs to see if there was an obvious difference, but they looked both the exact same. I guess this is really playing a game of chance. I chose a chair. I stood in front of it, turned, and looked at Dr. Ferluci, but he was already in the other chair. He looked at me with those cold eyes and nodded. I took that cue to sit down at the same time as him. I braced for the life-ending shock, but when I sat down, nothing. Nothing happened. I looked to the other chair, expecting to see Ferluci convulsing and foaming out of the mouth due to the immense amount of electricity flowing through his body, but nothing. He sat there perfectly fine. I was confused. I sat there silent, trying to process what the fuck was going on. Before I can fully come to terms with what just happened, Ferluci finally spoke.
You made a choice. One that was hard to make. One that was blind, and one that could have ended your life. However, this was not the only choice you could have made. There was a third option. To try and walk out the door. But that would have ended with me shooting you, wouldn't it? Neither of these chairs is connected to electricity. And here, take the gun. Examine it.
I was a bit of a gun nut back in my teen years, so I knew this was a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield .40 caliber pistol. I pressed the release button on the side to discover an empty magazine clip. Nothing. I pulled the slide back to see inside the chamber, and it was empty as well. There wasn't any ammo at all in the gun. All that I could see was carbon dust left over from the previous shot. That gunshot that I heard earlier must have been the last bullet in the gun when he shot it. Dr. Ferluci, I don't understand.
You see,
Ferluci continued after I looked back at him with astonishment.
Sometimes we have to make decisions in life with either incomplete or sometimes even incorrect information. Sometimes those can be the scariest choices one can make in life. But trust me when I say this, those decisions lead to the most memorable conclusions. I promise you, once you leave this room, You will never forget this lesson.